1787, 1,200 men swarmed the federal arsenal in Springfield, Massachusetts. One of the leaders was the infamous Daniel Shea. Shea was a farmer who opposed high taxes and extreme inflation. The government at the time followed the Articles of Confederation, which was a document that tied the states together with a loose affiliation run by a weak and unstable government. Shea's rebellion was the ultimate tipping point that forced the government to rethink its current state. On May 14, 1787, the first Constitutional Convention meeting was held, but very few delegates were able to attend. However, by May 25, 1787, delegates from 7 of the 13 states walked into the Philadelphia Independence Hall to attempt to fix their current government, because if some very strong props were not applied, the present system would tumble to the ground. 55 delegates from 12 of the 13 states attended the convention for various amounts of time. The convention lasted from May 14th to September 17th of 1787 and ultimately ended up entirely rewiring the United States and changing the world.
Hello everyone, and thanks for coming. As you all know, this is the Constitutional Convention.
Yeah, this is starting and I'm going to be important. And we are starting the meeting right now.
Our first item on the agenda is to elect someone to officiate these meetings.
George Washington.
George Washington!
George Washington.
Say aye if you want me to take charge.
Aye. Alright then, where should we start? I shall write the rules for this convention, along with my very good friends Charles Pinckney and George White.
I have brought you all here today to discuss the shortcomings of our previous governing documentation, as evidenced by the insurgency by a few certain farmers in Massachusetts recently. Myself, Alexander, and multiple others have determined that this meeting will be the superlative way to reassess our government. We will need to give more power to the federal government and proper relations with the state.
Let's start with state representation and what powers belong to the states versus the federal government.
The federal government should control certain elements such as taxing.
No, I shall not let the good small states such as the good state of New Jersey be underrepresented in the new legislature. Mark your words. I will be back with another plan.
The delegates wound up entirely redoing their current government. The Virginia Plan established our current 3-branch federal government consisting of a legislative branch, an executive branch, and a judicial branch. The U.S. was constantly plagued by the fear of unintentionally adopting a too centralized, overpowering governmental system, so the delegates created a system of checks and balances. Checks and balances are complications written into the Constitution that spread out the power across the 3 branches and prevent one branch from becoming too powerful. The goal was to let our government be like that of the solar system, let the general government be like the sun, and the states, the planets, repelled yet attracted, and the whole moving regularly and harmoniously in several orbits.
I've come up with not one, but 2 plans.
The only thing I know is that our national government should have 3 branches.
I agree.
My first plan is for all states to have a great equal power that can control their own taxes and have equal representation in our federal government. I will call this the New Jersey Plan, after my favorite state. If all else fails, my second plan is to create a compromise, blending the 2 plans. I will call that the Connecticut Compromise.
I will also create a plan. My plan is called the Hamilton Plan. It'll make our government exactly like the one we have rebelled against. I see no consequences whatsoever.
No. Let us all vote on these plans. The first plan up for the election is the New Jersey Plan. All in favor, say aye.
Nay.
Aye.
In July, the delegates settled their debates on slavery with a 3/5 compromise. This benefited the southern states because they had a lot of slaves and therefore gained more representation in the legislature, but also prevented them from gaining too much power, which is what the northern states feared. The delegates also settled their legislation debates with the Connecticut Compromise. The Connecticut Compromise combined the Virginia Plan, which wanted representation proportional to population, something that favored larger states, and the New Jersey Plan, where each state had equal representation, which benefited smaller states. The plan established a bicameral legislation, one chamber with representatives proportional to the state population called the House of Representatives, and the other with 2 representatives per the state, the Senate. On July 24th, the Committee of Detail began to write the first draft of the Constitution that would be presented on August 6th.
Nice to see you all again. Today we are going to vote on 2 things. What to do about slavery and Roger Sherman's Connecticut Compromise.
Does anyone have any ideas about slave representation in the population? We should start with that so that we can use that information for the Connecticut Compromise.
How about we have each slave count as 3/5 of a person? This will keep both the people in the North and in the South happy. Who is in favor of Sherman's compromise?
Aye.
Nay.
In August, the committee's delegates debated and settled the wording of the Constitution. Two sides had formed: the Federalists, who supported the Constitution and wished to create a strong federal government, and the Anti-Federalists, who did not support the Constitution and believed that it would overpower the states and strip away their freedom. In June, James Madison had proposed the idea of a Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was designed to protect the rights of the U.S. citizens, but the Federalists did not want to disrupt the already made rules. The bill consists of 10 amendments. The Bill of Rights was ratified on December 15th of 1791, after being strongly pushed for by the Anti-Federalists, led by Patrick Henry, with some prominent supporters such as James Madison and George Mason.
Today we are gathered to present the initial draft of the Constitution. Committee of Detail, please take the floor.
Thank you, Washington. We've put a lot of thought into this and we have had very dedicated discussions about every little word. Here's a copy of the Constitution for everyone. We understand that we don't represent the opinions of all the delegates, but we will tweak words when given any request.
While we'll work on exact wording later, I object to the statement that there should be one representative for every 40,000 inhabitants as a perpetual rule. It will create far too many representatives in the future.
I move to amend the wording to not exceeding 40,000 people. Thank you for your feedback.
Wow, your committee did a great job. Can I have a committee too?
I wouldn't mind having a committee myself.
Can I have a committee, please?
I don't even know who you are.
Please?
Fine. Everyone can have a committee. Mason, work on state debts and the militia. I will see to the laws regarding slaves. Sherman, you can regulate trade. Morris, you can work on whatever is left over.
What about me?
I think you should work on the incredibly important committee of style and arrangement and make sure that the Constitution looks pretty.
I would love to do that!
Thank you, Hamilton. We couldn't do this without you.
On September 17, 1787, 39 of the 42 delegates present signed the Constitution, effectively pushing it into the next stage, ratification by the states.
All of our committees have finally finished their jobs. What should we do now, James?
I believe we should.
Not you, James. I'm asking James Madison.
I would first like to congratulate each of the committee members, even you, Hamilton. Anyway, let us first hear from Morrison's committee.
The Committee of Leftovers has tied up all loose ends. We have decided how to choose a president, how to impeach a president, and how long a president should serve. We decided that citizens shouldn't vote for the president. Instead, they elect some very smart people like ourselves to do the voting for them.
Sounds like we've done everything. Ready to sign, ladies and gentlemen? Wait, just gentlemen, like myself.
Couldn't be more ready.
Hold up. You're telling me that we should sign a constitution that doesn't grant its citizens constitutional rights such as freedom of speech and the right to bear arms? No way, dude. I need my rights.
Wait a minute, I think I want rights too. Why is this not in the Constitution already?
I'll tell you why. A Bill of Rights would simply give the people more power than the government. Also, they are only silly trifles, simply rules for kindergartners. Are we not disciplined enough to not talk when others are talking? We do not need a law that tells us to be kind to each other. Come on, let's just sign the Constitution already.
I will not sign without the Bill of Rights.
I will make a compromise. After the Constitution is ratified, our next item on the agenda will be a Bill of Rights as a separate document from the Constitution.
Pinky promise?
Pinky promise. Let's get to signing.
Are you sure we've checked everything over and nothing's going to be a problem in the future?
Yeah, here's the pen.
It was not until June 21st, 1788, that the Constitution was finally ratified by the 9th of 12 states, excluding Rhode Island, reaching the necessary Greek order.